Hello, everybody. Shindig 2026. How are we doing? It's a sunny one out there today. Get your hats on, sun cream, hydrate. So we'll do like just a beat before we start, and then kick off. I've got my notes. They're upside down. It's like a map. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Chalky Nine Nine. We are the Global Funk Fam. I'm here with Chris from the Beatles Dub Club. Yes, you all know those words, but just not in that order. So, Chris, tell me about the Beatles Dub Club. What are you? What do you do? And when do you do it?
Well, what a warm introduction. Thank you very much for that. So, the Beatles Dub Club was basically a passion project of mine, which has got like wildly out of control. So, years ago, I thought it would be fun to do like a Beatles-inspired DJ set where you play cover versions, remixes, mashups, songs that have sampled the Beatles. So, in like festival-friendly styles, so like reggae, dub, ska, drum and bass, house, Latin, hip hop, all that stuff. And I thought it might, I thought a few people might be into it. I thought some hardcore Beatles fans would hate it. And the first time I did it was just after lockdown at Green Man Festival in 2021. And the response was incredible. Like thousands of people came down for it. And then just slowly over the years, it's just grown and grown and grown. And now I do the set sometimes with a horn section, which is what's happening today at Shindig Festival. Sometimes I do an AV version of the show as well. And it's taken me all over the place. So yeah, all around the UK, loads of festivals and like abroad as well, Australia, New Zealand, Southeast Asia, loads of European countries. And it's just a bit of a fun old time, basically. Yeah.
That sounds amazing. The passion project that got out of control is should be the tagline for the Global Funk Fam, I think. So yeah, you mentioned you're playing festivals this season. As a DJ, if I've got like maybe one or two a month, that's a healthy month for me. So what's your schedule like? Tell me about your schedule this festival season.
Quite a busy one this summer. Probably about 30 festivals or so this summer, so quite a few. And in particular, this weekend, May Bank Holiday weekend, is the weekend that everyone likes to put on events and festivals. I mean, the weather's glorious, and I think start of the summer, so everyone's really excited. So this weekend alone, May Bank Holiday weekend, over 4 days doing 6 festivals. So this is number 5 for me this weekend.
The maths ain't mathing. The maths ain't mathing. 6 festivals, 4 days. You've got a driver, right?
It's all me. I don't have a driver. I was thinking this weekend maybe I should do, but try and keep hydrated. All those things you said at the start. Just take it easy and have rests when you can. And map it. Don't stretch yourself too geographically when the things come in. If it's not feasible, it's not feasible. But if it is feasible, why not? Yeah, why not?
Why not? That's great. So just let's get a bit into what you do on stage. So the Beatles Dub Club, it's kind of self-explanatory, but it's like it's an odd mix. It's an odd mix. So what's the inspiration? Why did you go down the dub line?
Well, basically the sort of dub club thing was an homage to acts like Gentlemen's Dub Club, Dub Pistols, people like that who have kind of taken the term, but they play all sorts of different styles and genres themselves, don't they? They play all sorts of different stuff, those guys. So it's kind of like an all-encompassing, and it was kind of like three buzzwords. I thought, well, this could be a fun. I didn't really think it would get this big and this far, to be honest. I just thought, well, that's a fun little thing to call it, and kind of explains it. And I kind of see it as like everyone who comes to the show or gets involved is part of the club, if you know what I mean. It's not just me, even though I'm the sort of the main person doing all the stuff. Everyone's invited and feels part of the club. So that's kind of where the inspiration behind the name came from. And then basically with regards to sort of musically, it's kind of just sort of festival friendly stuff that I think is fun to play out, that will get crowds moving. I also bring in lots of different little samples and stuff like that from like some clips of the Beatles and people talking about the Beatles and stuff like that. And in particular with the AV show, where I'm doing a stage with a big screen, you can really lean into that and play clips from films and really bring that to life a little bit. So it's kind of like, one thing that's the Beatles were always quite well known for their sort of humor and silliness, and try and bring a little bit of that into the set as well. So sort of almost like take on board kind of a lot of stuff that they did. But yeah, that's kind of the overall kind of feeling of it, basically.
Excellent. The Beatles and the Global Funk Fam are known for our fun and humor. So the Beatles, they've not been together for a while. How do you feel the younger generation of festival goers, who may be hearing Sergeant Pepper's for the first time, but done in drum and bass? How do you feel that connects to the younger next generation of festival goers?
Well, it's really interesting because obviously the Beatles have been together for a while, but like McCartney and Ringo are still very active now, and they seem to be bigger than ever on social media, like on TikTok and Instagram. They seem to be doing lots of business still on there, and there seems to be a lot of Beatles stuff at the moment. I think the last time there was a huge amount of Beatles nostalgia was probably in the 90s with Anthology coming out and Britpop and everything like that. And then I think the noughties and the 10s, they maybe dropped off out of fashion a little bit, but they very much feel like at the moment, you got 4 films coming out. You got there's a TV show coming out. They're just about to do this new museum thing in London at Savile Row. They've got both McCartney and Ringo have released albums in like the last month or so. So they sort of seem as active as ever. So I think there are quite a lot of young people who are kind of aware of the Beatles anyway. So, but yeah, absolutely. I'm sure there's people who are probably coming and checking it out for the first time, and hopefully sending them down a bit of a rabbit hole themselves, and the originals as well as the covers and everything like that. Is that there's a real treasure trove of, there's so much like Beatles content out there. You can really get lost in it, and I often find myself in like a Beatles hole, which is kind of where this whole thing started. I was like big in a Beatles hole, and was like, this could be a fun thing to do. Yeah,
that's the like you said, the treasure trove of absolute bangers that the Beatles have done. I'm going to ask the basic questions now. You've all been waiting for this moment for me to ask Chris. What is your favorite Beatles track if you could select just one?
Well, it's a real basic answer actually, but it's one that it's a lot of people's favorite. It's actually the most streamed song that they have online, even though it was never a single. Fun fact about this song, but my wife walked down the aisle to this song in 2019. It was a song that played a lot when my daughter was born, and it's a George Harrison one. It's not a Lennon or McCartney one. Here Comes the Sun is probably my all-time favorite. That's the one that when people ask me, that's the one for me. But yeah, a lot of people love that one.
That is a beautiful song. My favorite's Helter Skelter. If anyone cares, no one does. No, Candyman doesn't. Theo was hanging on, waiting to hear what my favorite Beatles song was. And last question, out of the absolute vault, what do you think is the most underrated Beatles track? Like deep cuts, something that these guys probably haven't listened to in a while, that we can go and stream it in the car on the way home. What's the most underrated Beatles track?
Maybe Helter Skelter. That's probably up there, isn't it? Yeah. I tell you, they've got so many kind of mad tunes that they did, especially in those later years. Some of the sort of Lennon ones, like "I Want You, She's So Heavy," was kind of almost like the blueprint for kind of like heavy metal that came like a few years later. Another mad Lennon one, which I think is quite underrated, is "Happiness Is a Warm Gun." That's kind of a crazy song that they did on the White Album. But yeah, just so many. I would say like if you're go listen to the White Album. Is kind of like carnage. Get the White Album on, because there's so much stuff. There's like silly Paul McCartney songs, and there's really deep, absurd Lennon songs. Honey Pie is on there, which is just completely bonkers. That's a good one, which I think encapsulates everything that was so interesting about the Beatles. Yeah. So maybe if I say that an album instead of because everyone talks about Peppers and Abbey Road and the early stuff, but yeah, that one's a really interesting one.
There you go. The White Album is a trip into the Beatles. Chris, thank you very much. From the Beatles Dub Club, You are playing soon, are you? What?
I got to go and sound check now, so I will see you soon.
He's literally looking at his watch like I need to GTFO. Thank you very much, Chris. Thank you. Can I get a big round of applause for Chris? Ladies and gentlemen, non-binary humans, Shindig 26, Beatles Dub Club over there very soon. Thank you very much. Oh, that way. Sorry. I forgot my compass, Candyman.